Hey there, and welcome to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. That's the big website you got to go to. It's got all the information that you need on there.
Getting better.
Or if you don't like going to the website, you like the old school way, give a ring-a-ling-a-ling to 651-775-9194. The lovely and talented Sheila will pick up the phone and say, "This is Sheila," and you can ask her any questions that you may have, and she'll get you steering in the right direction.
That's right.
You want to do your Chubby Checker little promo here? What do you got going on?
Well, we've been talking about Muffin Top. Our guest maybe doesn't know. We've been talking about a Muffin Top meltdown that I'm working on. So today, is it belly bulge or bowel sludge?
Belly bulge or bowel sludge?
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm not going to do it.
Okay. So what a lot of people don't realize, and when they're struggling with the muffin top, both men and women, but odds are currently probably that your body is in auto bloat.
What?
Auto bloat. You're constantly bloated.
Okay.
Right? Because you have a state of your body where over time, we talk about bioaccumulation all the time.
Sure.
So over time, the body accumulates and stores all that fecal matter and all the stuff, right?
Okay.
Causing your belly to balloon and store fat instead of burning it.
Got it.
Okay? So that's a big topic that I love to talk about. And there's many things that go with the belly bulge. And that's an overgrowth of candida, that's yeast, that's parasites, that's a lot of different things that are going on in your gut and your microbiome, and we talk a lot about that with Dr. Melissa when she's on the show. And so your sugar cravings, your anxiety, your unexplained weight gain, brain fog, there's a lot of things that are contributed and because of the gut microbiome and your belly
So
bulge.
you've got a program, the Muffin Top Meltdown. That just with making a few changes in some things and doing some very definite steps. 100% guarantee it works every time. But
and I was there, so I can say that,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people will look at me and think, "Oh, you've always been like that." No, no, I have not always been like this. So a long road, a long journey. And I always tell people that let me help you before you get to the point that I was at, because nobody needs to get that bad. Right.
This is Our Healthy Homes. 4 pillars of a healthy home that we like to speak about is the house itself, the structure, the ecosystem, what's going on inside the house, and your physical body and your emotional well-being, your mind and spirit. 4 pillars of a healthy home. If any one of them is out of kilter, the roof comes tumbling down.
Right.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about an organization that helps with that first pillar, and that is the structure, the physical structure inside the house, the Joy
Which also
Collaborative.
reflects into mind.
You're exactly right. It does, and we'll talk about that because you're exactly right. So Mark Ostrom is here, and he's going to talk about the Joy Collaborative. So first, kind of tell us, what is that organization? What is the Joy Collaborative, and what's your mission?
So our mission is, good morning, by the way. Good morning. Our mission is to create spaces for kids with life-limiting conditions.
Okay.
So we work within the Twin Cities, 50 miles within the Twin Cities. We partner with the local design community and help individual families as well as programs like Ronald McDonald House to renovate spaces for those who we know need help.
Okay. And what kind of help are we talking about?
We're talking about complete interior design renovation projects.
For whole house renovation?
No, we keep our projects limited to 300 to 500 square feet because we work with the design community with in-kind goods and services. So we have to cap out how many square feet. Otherwise, I mean, we've had requests for 10,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's never
bet you
going to
have.
happen.
Right.
So, well, at least not in our current model, but
Right.
But that's how we work. So it could be a playroom space, it could be a sleeping space, it could be a family gathering space, it could be in public programs like Firefighters for Healing. We need a communal space for their kids recovering from burns. So if that helps kind of
So
put the
what are
parameters
your
on things.
I don't want to say target market, but what kinds of limiting disabilities are you talking about addressing?
So we work with people 5 to 17 years old because we have to have some parameters.
Yeah.
We work with folks with medical diagnoses, one
Okay.
or many. We've worked with programs that focus on poverty and homelessness.
Okay.
So within those buckets, and sometimes those overlap,
Mm-hmm.
that's our target market.
More times than not, they do overlap. So what about funding then for this? I mean, is this something that we charge the families for, or how does, when you're going into, describe to me what kind of renovations you're talking about doing, first of all.
Sure.
And then secondly, how does it get paid for?
Yep. So I can talk about our process. So
Okay.
the kinds of projects that we've done, I'll just give you some examples and ones that are in the pipeline. So we did a renovation for a young person who had cystic fibrosis.
Okay.
He was in a rental property. He and his single mom were in a rental property, very small home, and he was struggling. He had ADHD. So to sit down for 2 times a day if you have cystic fibrosis, it's chest compression treatment that you have to do for half an hour a day. You have to sit and have this thing like pound your chest to loosen up the stuff. Their house was so small, he was either doing it in the living room or at the kitchen table and feeling really uncomfortable. He actually would do his treatments underneath the kitchen table because that was the only place he found sort of comfort.
Yeah.
Sure,
quiet.
space alone, quiet.
And all of the equipment that you had to have. And so it was pretty unfortunate situation. So we ended up taking over a basement space in this rental property, worked with the homeowner to renovate and create a space that was just his, where the storage that there was for all of his equipment, so nobody could see it. He could have friends over. We had the world's largest interactive PlayStation down there. I think he had maybe a 7-foot wide screen that came down from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that he could do Xbox and things like that. But what happened is now, so then afterwards, the mom's like, oh my God, thank you. Now you've got this kid out of my hair, right? Because he's bugging me all the time, and I'm worried about him, sticking with his treatment. He had never had friends over before. So now he's having sleepover because he's got the coolest space on the block.
Sure, right.
And we hear back from his care provider going, thank you for giving me a motivated patient.
No.
So all of those touch points happen just because of this renovation for somebody who knew didn't have capacity to create something meaningful at home.
Are the most of the people that are people that apply, I'm assuming they apply, are they referrals or how do you qualify? Then how do you qualify them?
Yep. It's an open application process. It's on our Joy Room page. Anybody can self-refer. We've had referrals from OT. We've had physicians. We've had other service providers like Crescent Cove has it's a respite care program, has referred patients to us. We've had former recipients refer their friends to us. So it can come from anywhere, really. But it's the vetting process where it becomes important because our pipeline, we can only serve so many people, right? Our capacity is only so large. So I'll interview whoever the applicant is for half hour, 15 minutes, get an understanding what's happening.
In person?
Over the phone.
Okay.
Then the in-person happens. We'll bring a board member and myself to whatever the space is because we're bringing so many volunteers to these spaces. We have to make sure they're safe.
Okay.
So, sure.
So then we visit, check it out. Then we give a presentation to our board, which happens once a month. We take a look at what our capacity is and then decide, can we do this? And if we can, when can we start? So that's the process of onboarding, I guess, or pre-onboarding a potential recipient.
Okay, so I'm curious about the thing that you said when you gave the example the first time, it was a rental property.
Right, I know.
So how does that work with the landlord?
Yep.
And what kind of a lease then would you require to be in place so that the work that you've done now is protected for some period of time? You don't want them to move and then call you and say, well, we moved now, can you do it over?
Right. So yes, we did have an agreement with the landowner or the property owner who was also a friend of the mom. Okay. So they were longtime friends. So that helped any kind of ripples that we might have run into. As best we could, everything in that project was built on a modular basis and was owned by the parent.
Okay.
So it was gifted to the parent. So if they end up moving somewhere else, all the casework was modular. The ceiling stuff can come out. The lights can come out. Everything that was accessory could come out and move.
Is it normally like that, or you
did that? Yes, all of our projects are built as modular as possible because we know living situations can be temporary.
Got it.
The Joy Collaborative. Okay, before we go out, I just want to, where do they contact you? If someone wants to reach out and contact you, where can they go?
Go to joycollaborative.org.
That's easy.
Yep.
Joycollaborative.org. Any phone number? Or just go to the website.
Go to the webpage, contact, you'll find me.
Okay. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. I'm going to go out and pay some bills right now. We got to do that so we can stay on the stay on the air for one more week. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. We're here with the Joy Collaborative. Before we get into that, I got some questions. Lots of questions for them. But Sheila's going to give us a little rundown on the Muffin Top Meltdown, quick like a bunny.
Yes. Reach out to me. See if you want a free consultation, a conversation to talk to you about where you're at, what you've done. I have a 7 tips to help you that I can get out to you. And
Free,
like you always say, free. And
free.
What do you say?
No cost and absolutely no obligation.
There you go. Because it's really a place to explore and see where you're at and
see if it's right for you.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Mark, thanks for coming in. So we talked a little bit last segment about Joy Collaborative, some of the works, gave some examples. I'm curious about how it got started. Who dreamt this one up, and what made you decide to do this?
You're staring at the person who's executing. Okay. I am not the one who dreamt this one up.
Okay.
I am absolutely convinced that there's some divine intervention that happened to get this company off the
Okay,
ground.
so tell me about that.
I had spent my design career doing corporate commercial projects, hospitality projects, arenas. It went on and on and on. And I got to the point I was working for a Fortune 10 company, and I was done. Mm-hmm. It felt very transactional to me. I didn't feel like my clients were as appreciative. Maybe I wasn't engaged with them like I might have liked to be. And I knew there was something else. So I got
to believe as a design, or in that space, you really put your work and your life and your thoughts, into that. So sometimes feeling like, somebody maybe isn't appreciating
the creativity.
There was just a disconnect for me personally. Okay. Other people can keep going down that road and it's fine for them, but for me it just didn't work. And I ended up going to St. Thomas and taking an entrepreneurship program. And basically writing the business plan, drafting the business plan for what we're doing now, which was so exciting to me. And we happened to be I'll never forget it, we were in Duluth visiting friends. They have an amazing house that overlooks the lake, and I happened to be sitting there one Saturday morning and just kind of contemplating, and I got a message from above that said, just start. It was as clear as a bell, and I knew exactly what just start meant. And the following Monday, I hit the ground running with confidence like you don't know. So
what did that look like? That just start when you said he hit the ground running. What did that entail?
So at that point, it was this concept, right? A business plan concept. Well, it doesn't make any difference if you're not acting on anything.
Correct.
So it was like, all right, well, who are the clients going to be? How are we going to put this thing together? Who are the volunteers that I'm going to be calling on? And I just started. It was like, hey, I'll call Make-A-Wish. I know they're probably going to need some help. Maybe, I don't know. And that turned into probably one of the most challenging projects I've ever done in my life, which is exactly why I took it. It's for a deaf blind boy with more issues than you want to know about. But the family was really struggling providing for him. And we did a great project for Kodiak. And that then Make-A-Wish referred us to Shriners and other organizations, Ronald McDonald House. I'm like, this is it. This is so exciting. So back to your original question, I'm the founder. I'm the executive director now. I started 2017. 2019, I left my full-time job. Didn't take a paycheck for a year. 2020, we got our 501c3 application. So now it's been 3 years. We are full steam ahead. We will be hiring staff next year, which is super exciting. And we serve over 5,000 people in the Twin Cities right now after just 3 years.
And so all of this...
5,000.
5,000.
All of this is volunteer work.
100%.
100% volunteer work. So
you look mystified.
Well, I'm just thinking of 5,000 people, all these projects that you're doing, and it's all volunteer. The coordinating of that. So many nonprofits struggle just to get someone to show up to make pancakes in the morning. How do you accomplish that, and what kind of outreach do you do to your trade partners to encourage them that of a million things they could be spending their time and money on, that this one is the one that they should focus on?
Well, what I learned, so prior to starting the company, I was in sales for a number of years. And what I learned in talking to them is, I'm talking about contractors and design firms specifically, because that's where the majority of the hours are coming from. They all wanted to be doing something in the community. right? They would do Feed My Starving Children.
Mhm.
They do a trash
Oh,
pickup
sure.
day or whatever.
Yep.
And so when we would do our sales events and we'd have happy hours afterwards or
Mhm.
whatever, I would kind of interview
Plant
or
the
ask
seed.
them, plant
Yeah.
the seed about, just ask them like, hey, I've got this idea. What about we take your energy and put it in our backyard for people who we know are struggling every day? And the hands would go up. So I'm like, all right, this is registering with people. So at the very beginning of the project, usually it's the contractor and designer and family or recipient. It could be an executive director from another nonprofit. We kind of set the tone at the very beginning and kind of put the roadmap map together so that it's clear how much time this is going to take.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't an afternoon
No.
Yeah.
activity,
Right.
right? This is going to take 6 months at the least. So there's a time commitment there. So we try to be very clear at the beginning about what the expectation is. To your point about pancakes and volunteers, sometimes it is a challenge. I mean, we for certain are challenged right now finding mill workers. The economy around us is booming. They've
Yeah.
been hit by COVID. They're
Right.
down with staff. There's not a lot of them, and margins are thin. So that's a huge element right now where we need help, electricians and mill workers. But oftentimes when we get them to meet the family or meet the recipient or meet the executive director, I mean, their mission just pulls on you, and that's what gets you into the project.
So I'm curious. So the contractors that you're working with, when I think of contractor, I think, okay, I've got a guy that has a business and he's got 20 guys working for him. So when he sends someone out, or you need an electrician, he's not going to go out and pull wire. He's going to send his guys out there.
Yes.
So are his guys then asked to volunteer their time, or is he paying them to go there, or how does that work?
Usually the general contractor is acting as project manager. So they're overseeing all the different trades. They may have somebody on staff. It depends on how robust their company is, if they do demolition, if they do drywall, things like that. Or they'll reach out to subs that they've worked with that they have relationships with. So they'll call the electrician, right? They'll call a millwork company or whatever. So it's really varied as far as how the team comes together, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it is. But at some point, not everyone's going to work for free. At some point, isn't somebody going to have to get
Well.
paid? I mean, if you
This is a pro bono
It is
community
pro-
outreach effort.
Okay,
So, I don't know, I mean, some contractors use that time as a marketing effort. They've already budgeted for marketing hours, right? Because they were
Yes,
going to do
right.
some other event.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Some other thing. So they've allocated X number of hours for their staff.
all right.
So they're going to do something anyway. So this just falls into that lane.
And this is how they use it to market themselves,
Yep.
which looks good on.
Well, they
paper.
can do whatever they
Right,
want.
They can
with
do
it.
whatever they want.
They
with
can
it.
do
it
whatever they
quietly
want
if
with
they
it.
want to, or they
Right.
can make a big deal.
We
out of
have
Right.
all of our recipients sign waivers that we can use their photography.
Sure.
We can use their video to broadcast publicly. Any of our volunteers have access to that video. So if they want to share it out, however, if they want to show it to a client and say, here's our good work in the community, if they want to put it on their website, all of that is available to them as a marketing tool.
So we're on the radio right now, so people are listening, and that's one way that you become known that this service is even available. How else? I mean, how do you get the word out as far as for the consumer, for the people, the families in need, that they even know that you're out there and that you're able and willing to help them?
Yep. So it comes in a bunch of different ways, right? Exposure can come in a bunch of different ways. It can be working with the local, maybe there's a program service I mentioned, Crescent Cove, or Gillette, or Children's Hospital. They all know about us.
Okay.
They have brochures. They can refer families. What's been interesting, though, is the majority of referrals come in organically through referral.
Okay.
They saw us on social media. They saw us on Twin Cities Live. They saw a blurb in a local paper, whatever that is. So, awareness is coming from all different things. We've got events coming up. We'll talk about Jingle and Mingle for sure. But it's really about exposure to the public. Social media is huge for us. I play on LinkedIn, and we get a lot of attention and exposure through. Oh, I saw that post. Oh, I saw that project. Obviously, Instagram, we're playing on that a lot because we're a visual brand.
So, and right now this is all you. I mean, as far as doing all that work, because do you have staff now, or?
I am the staff of
You-
Joy
you
Collaborative.
are the staff.
We have a board. We have a working board of 6. We're going to be expanding that at the end of this year.
Okay, so
We
what's a working board mean? What's that mean?
That means we have people who sit in a board chair who actually fulfill a role.
Okay,
So that could be
so
legal oversight.
So there's a time
program.
commitment there as well.
Oh, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, there's a contract. If you sign a board, there's
Yeah.
a time contract that we have with you.
Okay, and so they're doing various functions, whatever it is, legal or whatever,
Marketing,
social,
website design.
Okay.
Fill in any finance, any part of an operating business we need people to do that.
We need people.
Is when somebody applies, is there any cutoff on somebody's income that they have?
We do have financial guidelines on our
Okay.
website that follow
Okay.
pretty much what Habitat is using, which is it's a threshold number.
Okay.
And that's a national number that we follow. If somebody's above that, we have done fee-for-service projects where
Oh,
we work with
okay.
you to say, okay, here's what we think the project's going to cost. You know, if it's all on them or some midpoint, we'll figure that out. So we can do projects for our people under the threshold,
Yes,
and then people beyond,
Okay.
and we'll talk about that.
Welcome back to the program. Thank you for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Mark Ostrom. Did I say that right?
Ostrom.
Ostrom. Mark Ostrom from the Joy Collaborative. If you change your last name to Smith, that seems to be the only
Okay, I'll do that just for
the
you,
only one
Keith,
I can
just for you.
pronounce. Okay. And so we're talking about the Joy Collaborative. It's a nonprofit that does work on behalf of handicapped children who are challenged in many different ways, and you build them spaces, if I understand correctly, where they can function, essentially, and feel comfortable with their in their current
Daily living.
environment. So I'm curious about what kind of events. We talked about how you get the word out. And, of course, we're on the radio right now. That's one way to get the word out. You go to your Rotary Club meetings. You network with hospitals and Make-A-Wish and companies, businesses or institutions like that to try to get known. But you mentioned that that the most people came to you by referral or by social media or somewhere, and a way to get known that way, of course, is with events and the promotion of the events and all of that. Tell us a little bit about the events that you do, and that that people can be looking for and maybe show up and attend and contribute to.
Sure. So a couple events kind of coming up. I'll highlight just three of them. Mid-October, we're going to be doing a celebration party around a new initiative that we created called the Joy Mobile.
Okay.
And the Joy Mobile is a mobile sensor unit that'll go out to community, to events, to clinics, schools, to help the neurodiverse community find their center. And it's super exciting. It comes from, you guys are in real estate, us talking with schools and other locations where they had a rise in being able to serve autism community, things like that, and just didn't have the space or the dollars to create a space. So in working with Richfield Public Schools and working with other public entities, we said, well, what if we create the space and bring it to you?
So
that's what's happening.
So that I'm thinking Bloodmobile.
Exactly.
So is that something that you go out? Is it more of a this is what we can do kind of a presentation where let's show you how this works, and then we can maybe do something at your home, or is it an actual like a therapy time? We're going to be out there at Richfield High School. I'm just picking that out of the air. Richfield High School every Wednesday, at this time, and that people can come and actually use the facility like a facility.
Are you channeling me right now?
I don't know. I'm just
So yes,
thinking out loud.
yes to both of those.
Okay.
So yes, it's we're the space provider. We're not the service provider. I want to make sure that's very clear. We're not going out to say, hey, we're going to bring in these therapists.
Okay.
Right. But we are. I just talked to the University of Minnesota yesterday. Their occupational therapy program wants to be part of our staff.
So they'll staff it.
They will staff it. They will be a tour guide, but they're not a service provider, if that makes sense. I want to be very clear about the differentiation there. And then I was just at Courage Kenny this week. I was with a dozen of their service providers, and they were like, could you just have this parked here for the week? Our families would love this.
Okay.
So you are tapping into
So when you
both
park
the
it there
ideas.
for the week, then there has to be someone there with the
Yes,
vehicle. Okay.
100%.
So how does that work?
Yep. So that's what we talked with the U about. Their students could get some credit for doing community service work.
Okay.
And again, this is a pilot program. We just launched this a month ago.
All right.
So we're still talking to potential clients to see how they would actually use it, and then how we'll staff it.
So
I'm not worried about.
And you drive it there. It's not like
Yeah.
it has to be towed there
No.
or anything like that.
It's a vehicle
It's a thing.
you don't need a special license for it.
Right.
just-
It's a lunch wagon.
Yeah.
But it's the Bloodmobile concept.
Okay.
Yep.
So you pull the vehicle up.
Yeah.
What I'm I'm thinking, I'm just a sales guy, right? So I'm thinking sponsorship.
100%.
I want my name on that vehicle. So how can I do it? Is that an option? Is that available to do? What are the costs involved with that? What if I wanted to have to be a sponsor of that vehicle? How would that work?
So we have a sponsor benefits package.
Okay.
Different levels as you would with any other sponsored activity.
Okay.
So that's a conversation that we're going to have.
Okay.
Around the different levels, and I can share with you, not here, but what those might look like.
Okay.
And we're actually 3M has been a sponsor for us, which is awesome. They're going to wrap our vehicle. We're just finishing the artwork right now, and we're leaving the spots open for those sponsor logos.
Oh, got it.
And so part of that sponsorship package, depending on the level, is exclusive use of this Joymobile for an event or two throughout the year. So you've got a client, you've got an event that you want to be there and have your volunteers there, whatever. Like that's an opportunity for you to show off. And then there's social media campaigns and a whole bunch of other things that are part of those packages.
Sounds exciting as all get out.
It's super exciting, Keith. I mean, the fact that the Twins wanted us at a game without even seeing it speaks volumes to me. And I put up the big T sign and I'm like, wait a minute, you guys haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
You need to see it. You need to experience it. There are interior branding opportunities here that we purposely design things to be modular inside. So let's say 3M, let's say the Twins want to have it at their event. Those pieces can be pushed and pulled in and out.
Kind of like a puzzle, right?
So it's like you want to put
you in that puzzle spot this day, and
today is 3M, next week is the Twins.
I find that really exciting because brands want to convey something to their customer, and this is a tactile way to do it. I don't know how much closer you can get to being to target field than maybe having some AstroTurf, maybe having jerseys from actual players, whatever it is. I think that aspect to it will be exciting.
And so now you have set up for this Joymobile to be at events.
Yeah.
Are those events listed on your website?
Yes. So we launched it at the Make-A-Wish Walk.
Okay.
I've got a good story about that.
Okay.
So,
good.
We were at the Make-A-Wish Walk about a month ago.
That was like your first one.
Very well received. Yep. Like I mentioned, I was at Courage Kinney. We're going to be at Target Field, Prairie Care, depending. We're not quite sure yet. But 3M. There's a whole bunch of viewing opportunities that we're starting to talk about. I lost your question now.
The events on the website.
Yes. So on the website, you'll see where things are. We've got a festival coming up Saturday. So that's how you can come and experience it for yourself. Or if, in Keith's point, if you want to be a sponsor, then obviously we're going to bring it to you, set up an hour, half hour for you to actually come and experience it.
Let me ask you this. We had owned a restaurant for 14 years, and were encouraged many times to get a food truck and start doing that whole thing, and it's like a whole nother business. I see that here too.
100%.
This is like a whole nother business.
100%.
So then, it's like who's going to manage that? Who's going to coordinate it? Who's going to schedule it? Because you got to get this thing, make sure that it's out every day. It doesn't do any good parked in the shop.
That's right.
And who takes care of that kind of thing? Right now, that's you.
Yep.
What's for a food truck? I mean, if you're going to buy a new food truck, it's $120,000, $150,000. A similar cost on a thing like this, or if someone came to you and said, "Look, I want to buy you one of these things, and we love it so much. What's it cost?"
Okay. So you're jumping a little bit ahead because I'm a very methodical person, and I know how you're a little bit faster than I. But I wanted to make sure that we built this thing so that people really understood what the experience was and allow it to be flexible to respond to their needs, because they're going to need some flexibility in that. So that's the process we're going through right now. The van itself was donated to us for use, which is awesome, because that, whatever that is, $60,000. So that was a donated piece to us. Again, going back to the Joy model, the interior fit out and materials were all donated. So that came from Gardner Builders, who's been a partner or supporter of ours for years.
Yep.
Target gave us some materials. I mean, it's just the flooring, everything was all donated. So yes, the idea is, does this become a franchise model? Do we build these for others who are in Montana because we can't get to them? That's the next step in I think the future of this effort.
And I see that I want to explore that franchising business. not franchising from a franchising standpoint, but you're serving the Twin Cities metropolitan area.
Right.
This need is across
All
the
over.
globe.
You
Yeah.
are
And
correct.
so then what is the modeling? I'm curious about what work you're doing now to put this concept together into I don't want to call it a franchise piece because I don't want to cheapen it like it's a
No.
business opportunity, but into a format, if you will, that you can then give to another nonprofit who wants to do the same work and say, look, we've done the heavy lifting here.
Yes.
We put this thing together. We know what steps you've got to take and
Yes.
when you've got to take them
Yes.
so that you can hit the ground running here and avoid making the mistakes that we've made over the year. And I want to know what those mistakes are. What do you guys think?
Well, it's kind of
What kind of assumption are you making there, sir?
I
it's
know
kind
there
of
are.
like, Crescent Cove, right? 10 years they were fundraising, and it's the same thing. What do you mean there's only 3 kids hospice homes? One in Minnesota, California, and Arizona, right? So they went to California, they went to Arizona, like they went to those places and saw, so that when they created this here, right, they had some experience with it, but it's the same kind of thing.
It
We
is.
should have more of those,
The,
and I don't should
the
usually.
need
but,
is mammoth, but
Yeah.
but I also am one to just execute excellently baby steps along the way.
Yeah.
If I jump to the end, and we've had those conversations about,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's all fine and good, but we need to prove it out. We need to work with our sponsors and our users to
Right.
make sure that we're delivering what is
Right.
most beneficial. That's the whole point.
And solid every
Yeah.
step of the way, not over a air bridge somewhere.
Correct.
This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. We're going to go out and pay some bills, and we'll come right back with the final segment of the big
Hard to
program.
believe.
Ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. Give the lovely and talented Sheila a ring-a-ling-a-ling. You won't be sorry. 651-775. Sometimes I call her just for fun. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is the final segment of the big program. Okay, we were talking with Mark on the Joy Collaborative. We were going to talk about events last time. And
My
then
favorite topic.
And then we got sidetracked talking about the Joy Mobile. So let's get back to events. We started on that.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the events.
We take a detour every now and then.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mentioned I did promise last time that we'd hit on a couple of them. So this launch for the Joy Mobile, that will be a party. Right now like I said, we're talking to potential sponsors.
Right.
The idea is we would create some excitement.
Mhm.
We would showcase this thing and really kind of let people know, have a big awareness push around it.
And where is this at?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We've
What
got a
what
couple
kind
of
space or thoughts are you looking for that?
we've got a couple different people that we're talking with right now, but because it will be, it may not be super warm outside.
Yeah.
We need
Right.
it to be adjacent to a warm space.
Right.
So somebody who can hold some event for people, preferably where they're around, families who've got kids with needs, or their mission is something around that. But having us at a generic convention center is a stretch.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't seem like the right connection.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
some place that serves kids, families with needs. So I would just say that's
Maybe a large
Okay.
church with a mission.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Family
So
with needs
it could be a venue, it could be whatever that is. So that's one event that we're talking about. The next one that you may have heard of is called the Jingle and Mingle, which is November 10th at your home.
That's at my house. I've heard of it.
And that'll be a fun networking night, a little bit of fun.
And who's invited to that?
It is an
I
open
mean,
event.
I'm curious because it's my house, so I'm just like, I don't know who's coming.
Did you
Who's
not get
coming?
the invite yet?
I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
get
Oh,
the invite.
oops. All
November
right.
10th. You better put
She
that on
keeps
your
all
calendar.
that stuff secret
Oh,
from me and
well.
then just kind of drops it on me the week
Were we
before.
not supposed to tell them?
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. So that's an open invitation.
Okay.
We've got a volunteer committee that
Yep.
Sheila and I have been working with
Yep.
about, kind of setting it up for success, and I think it's feeling really good. We've had some good energy around it.
Yep, and with that event, like we did it last year, we spend time,
Mhm.
creating this. So we're on Zoom, for months, creating this and planning this and really putting the thought into.
So what's
the group
on
of
an event like this or any other one? What's the anticipated crowd? I mean, how many people are you looking at? When I say event, I'm thinking, oh, there's probably going to be 400 or 500 people there. That to me, that's an event.
We're not at that level yet of doing a gala type thing, which is that kind of crowd.
Really? Okay.
We're the overhead, the costs, many nonprofits, interview any of them, they will tell you we are lucky to break even
Okay.
on those events because there's so much time and energy, so much money spent on catering, the stuff, the bands, whatever. For them, it's a marketing piece.
Right.
So we're like,
We're
we're not going to do that.
Okay.
There's just when I talk to our board, the word gala is kind of poison. We don't
Yeah.
want to do something like that. We'd rather create an event like this that's more intimate, where
Okay.
I can talk to people, where our volunteers and other people who know the mission can spread the word. We can have a short program so people really understand. We can maybe invite a recipient in so they can meet and understand. And then we have some fun. Right?
Yeah,
We've been
have some
talking.
fun.
You've got
That's
a
our
pool,
deal.
so we're
Right.
trying to figure out how can we not ignore the pool and have some fun around that.
Right.
So
Somebody's going in for some money.
somebody's going in. I'm looking at you. So then there's some other events coming up that I didn't want to lose sight of. We are planning another initiative that I'm not going to talk about here because there's not enough to talk about yet. But early next year, we will have some kind of event launching this new initiative. We've got a concert cellist from the London Philharmonic who's agreed to be at that event. Philip is a world-class composer who has done work for Star Wars and works with Type A talent globally.
Okay.
So that is going to be a super fun event and somewhat
What size
exclusive.
do you want that event to be?
I think that's going to be around 100 people.
Okay.
And the one thing that I wanted to talk about, Keith, you hit it on a little bit, is like, where are these events, right? We can't have it in a shopping mall.
Right.
We're a design company.
Right.
Right, we're a design and experience company. The places that we want to be are the places that get people excited that talk about design. So your house,
Yes.
holiday bonanza stuff. I mean, it's super fun. So the venues that we hold are very important to emphasizing the work that we're doing, that it's quality, that it's design, that it's excitement. And those all lead up to our work. Right? Whether it's the sensory dental clinic that we're looking at, whether it's potential work doing abroad, whether it's more Joy Mobiles, I don't know. But people understand our mission, and we want them to get excited about what they can do to help these families and these other people who, hopefully you don't find yourself in their shoes.
Right. Exactly. And so all the events are on the website.
They will. Yep.
Okay. And we are for our event, we're looking at having the Joy
Mobile there.
It'll be there.
But potentially, hopefully in the garage. I didn't get you the measurement yet, but to be able to have people go from
Well,
inside
bring it
the
over
house
and drive it and see if you can get it in the garage.
and have it there so that you
It'll
can
be
actually
a yes or no.
Yeah, it's a yes or no.
Yep.
I mean, we had a great big van for catering. That was a big Ford van. It was huge, and it fit in the garage because we have a taller door.
Yeah, it's great for people to experience it. I mean, I mentioned the Make-A-Wish walk. So we, they get the event planners are like, great, we want you front and center. Awesome. We unload. We're there early. We're all set up. All of a sudden, here comes their DJ with a cart with a set of speakers as tall as you or I. 20 feet away from us,
So loud.
blasting music, and our volunteers were freaking out. And I said, "Worry not. We packed so much acoustic material inside the Joy Mobile because we knew the kids needed a quiet space.
Sure.
That was
Okay.
the first thing that we needed to address. Is you needed to come into a space that was quiet, that really calmed you down. And once you shut the door, you came inside, got into the Joy Mobile, you could barely hear what was
Really?
going on 20 feet away. So it's for us that was a huge success." And people appreciated that. The users were like, "Wow, this is great. I could spend all day in here."
Awesome. What do you need for if somebody wants to volunteer or somebody wants to contribute a space or something like that, like we do? What are you looking for?
It's a range of things from low lift to high lift. Right? Low lift, the easiest things are to share out on social media. You'd be surprised the reaction that we get when people share, comment, whatever. So that's easy. That doesn't cost anything. It takes you 3 minutes, right, to think of something. Silent auction items are
We're gonna
always
need
welcome.
some silent auction items. Yep.
And we all know experience, is great. So, gift certificates to certain things. We've got somebody giving us a weekend at a hotel, things like a 5-star hotel, things like that. So those are super great. It can be wine in a basket.
Whatever.
Put that
Right.
stuff. Clean out your closet. I don't
Yeah,
care. It looks
right.
cool to somebody else, and they
Right,
want it. And
right.
it's holiday time, so let's do that. Trade skills. Obviously, that's really important to what we're doing. If you want to touch one of our projects, to get to meet these families is just, you'll never forget those opportunities. And then, Keith, you're touching on sponsorship. So, we are a nonprofit. We can't run on fumes. We do
Right.
need people who
Cash
believe in
is
us.
good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the more the better. The more the better.
Yep.
Max us out, baby.
Next, okay, so I'm going to get down into to this starting of this thing because I've started and run a lot of businesses into the ground, so I know all the mistakes that you can make. So from starting, this has been like 2017. You said, right? Okay, so from 2017 till now, long journey, twists and turns along the way. What are some of the things that goes into the book that said, be sure to do this because this was really fruitful. So be sure that in my franchise book that I'm building, I'm going to include this. And the other things is, boy, I wouldn't do that again.
I have a number of people asking me for advice, which is crazy, and I love it right now. But which I never thought I'd be kind of in that chair, in that hot seat. But it was like, follow. I don't like the word following your passion because for me there was such a methodology in putting together why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like there were reasons, and making sure you can get paid for it. Right? I could love pulling weeds all day long, but if I can't get paid for it, then you're following your passion, but that doesn't really satisfy, that. So I would say really analyze how you want to see yourself living.
Okay.
And how your job is going to support that. So that's one thing. Now, because we have volunteers, say it's a mill worker. We just had an example of this week. A couple of months ago, hey, I'm Joe. I want to build this thing for you. Awesome. Okay, Joe, we're ready to go. Oh, hey, guess what? Last week I sold my business. The new owner doesn't want to have anything to do with giving away free product.
Oh, no.
So the lessons learned are we do have in-kind warehouse space. Once we get that gift, jump on it, get it done. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
But to sit there and wait on somebody's good intention was a mistake.
Okay.
And that then sets us backwards.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right now we've got somebody who's anticipating this project. I mean, it's really unfortunate, but that's a very fresh learning lesson. That's a little sensitive right now.
So you said that you've got in-kind warehouse space. So you've got actually a shop where you can have people come in and build furniture. And
No, storage.
Okay,
Yep.
So it's purely storage.
Yeah, so we get
okay. So we're saying they can
furniture,
build it and then
lighting,
when
all
it's
that
done,
stuff.
you'll deal with
We'll
it.
store it. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
How can we best support you right now, Sheila and I? In terms of this program and in terms of what we're doing now, what can we do to help you?
Continue the conversation, like have me back. We can
Okay.
share stories of specific projects. We didn't touch too much on
No.
specific projects. That would be super exciting. Share with your friends. Like let them know, like who do you think is sensitive to this? Who wants to help these kinds of families? That is huge. Like I said, the organic networking of this to me is blowing my mind. Because I can post things on social media all day long, and you're going out into the the Ethernet. You don't know who's got eyeballs on what, but those person-to-person connections, those introductions are huge. So I would say that.
Plus, for anyone listening, if you've got a heart for children and especially a heart for kids in need, this might be something that is worth looking into for you personally to contribute in whatever way that you can, including. And maybe most importantly is your prayers to guide these people in their board meetings and in their journey so that they can bring this thing to those with need and make it a really wonderful, personal, and enlightening experience. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194, ourhealthyhomes.com. Give the lovely and talented Sheila a ring-a-ling-a-ling, and she'll steer you in the right direction to help you with your health and wellness needs.
Great conversation. Thank you both so much.
Thank
We'll be
you.
back next week.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. Sugar after dinner, sugar in every room. He says I'm sweet as I can be. When he calls me that name, it does things to me. I tell him, honey, you can call me sugar.